Thanks for clicking. Canada's real estate market continued to plunge in May, according to new data released by the Canadian Real Estate Association. The new data released showed that prices and sales continued to drop, due in large part to a major increase in mortgage rates that we've seen over the past few months. The news came as a little surprise as we've been receiving numerous reports from the local real estate boards showing major drops in prices across Canada, 35% in BC, major drops in Montreal, price reversals in Hamilton, and major reversals in Toronto.
Can't take much more of this.
And it's not expected to get better anytime soon, with mortgage rates and thus mortgage qualification standards continuing to go up for the foreseeable future. Just this week, we saw bond yields go through the roof in Canada and mortgage rates followed suit. So what I want to do today is go over the data from the CREA, look how that's affected affordability over the past few months, discuss some tips for buyers entering the market, and then take a look at what to look for next. Speaking of what to look for next, bond yields rose dramatically this week and mortgage rates followed soon thereafter. So we are going to be having an update out on this channel on how much mortgage rates have risen in the past month and how that's affected mortgage payments for the average house in Canada. If you want to get those updates, make sure you click, like, and subscribe. But for now, let's get into this data. According to the Canadian Real Estate Association, sales dropped 8.6% in the month of May compared to April. Not only did sales drop almost 10% from the month of April, but the CREA notes that the COVID housing boom may very well be over, as sales activity returned to pre-COVID levels, its lowest rate since 2019. The decrease in sales, combined with an increase in listings, led to a major price drop down to $711,000 average price for a home in Canada. This is a $35,000 price drop since April, when the average price was $746,000. But the drop in Canada's real estate market becomes even more clear when we compare this to February's data, when the average price of a home was $816,000. Now we're at $711,000, over a $100,000 price drop, 8.7% in just a couple of months. So when you see predictions from companies like Desjardins saying that Canada could see price drops in the range of 15% by the end of 2022, we're already more than halfway there, and it's only been a few months and it's only been a few rate hikes, with many more expected to be coming down the pipe in short order. So, $100,000 price drop, 8.7% since April, and more rate hikes on the way. But what has this done for affordability? When Canada's housing market was at its all-time high, setting a record of a little over $816,000 in February,
good times,
buyers could still qualify using 5.25%, as interest rates were still relatively low. At that time, using minimum down payment requirements qualifying at 5.25% and a 25-year amortization, with zero debt, buyers needed to earn $170,000 in household income in order to afford the average home in Canada. With the average home now costing $711,000 and the best mortgage rate being 4.79, buyers now have to qualify at 6.79. So, using minimum down payment requirements and a 25-year amortization, buyers still have to make $170,000 in household income with zero debt in order to afford the average house price in Canada. So despite prices dropping by over $100,000, buyers still have to earn $170,000 in household income in order to afford the average price of a home in Canada. Now, the down payment requirements have dropped, so buyers are saving about $10,000 in the minimum down payment requirements, which should definitely help first-time home buyers.
Well, that changes everything. Oh my.
But the income needed is still the same as it was in February, due, not even in large part, due entirely to the increase in mortgage rates, the increase in interest rates, which are only expected to go up in the next coming months. With that said, the price reversals are only likely to continue as more and more inventory continues to hit the market, as more and more sellers try to get the equity out of their home while they can, and we see more and more supply than there is demand out there. And we've started to see this all over Canada, and definitely in my hometown in London, where we're only seeing about half as many listings hit the market, get sold in that same week. And when there's more supply out there than there is demand, leverage switches over to home buyers, which means you can and should have conditions when you put in an offer. During the past few years, conditional offers were considered a dirty word.
get out of here.
Yes, be free.
With the market shifting, with prices going down and homes sitting for much longer than they used to, buyers can and should have a minimum an appraisal condition on the purchase of their home. And I can't stress this enough to watch my Don't Get Sued video that we had a few months ago, showing how buyers can get sued in a shifting real estate market if they don't have these conditions on their offer to purchase. During the past few years, if you had conditional offers, if you had a finance condition, a home inspection condition, an appraisal condition, it was 99% chance that your offer was dead on arrival. But that's really no longer the case, and we're seeing more and more conditional offers throughout my hometown in London. We're seeing them in Toronto. So when you go to buy that house, don't be afraid to have conditions on your offer. Don't be afraid to offer less than the asking price. I think we've gotten so accustomed to sellers having all the power for the past few years. And as this data has shown, that's just not the case anymore. And it's definitely not going to be the case as interest rates continue to put downward pressure on the demand for Canadian real estate, on the demand of Canadian homebuyers. And like we said, this is only likely to continue even more as the Bank of Canada continues to raise interest rates, which they are more than likely continue to do for the next couple months and maybe even years ahead. We'll obviously have updates out on those interest rate hikes and how it has affected mortgage affordability in Canada. If you want to get those updates, make sure you click like and subscribe. But thanks so much for watching.